Well, they got rid of the cradle piece from all the promo images on the box. There's the front, there's the back, pretty clean, no cradle in sight anymore. You guys remember that cradle piece right there from the original. Where did that cradle piece go, Hiya? That's pretty convenient, isn't it?
In this series, we're going to be taking a look at every single Hiya Exquisite basic figure in the Godzilla line. Every repaint, reissue, 2.0, whatever they put out, we're going to be taking a look at them all in release order. Let's get started.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video review. Today we are, of course, taking a look at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Flameborn Rodan, or curiously, as the box will tell you, just Rodan? That's right. Officially, this is known as the Flameborn Rodan, but there's actually no mention of this on the packaging at all, even on the fine print on the back of the box. So the Hiya Toys Flameborn Rodan, what is it exactly? Is it a repaint? Is it a 2.0? What do we have here? I would actually say this is somewhere in between those, as the figure itself is just a simple repaint. In fact, it's a lot more simple than you would think, but there are some things that have been improved from the last figure. I'm gonna save paint and detail for a little later. I think the best way to do the paint and detail is actually just to compare this to the original figure. You'll get a much better idea of what this figure has to offer in terms of paint when you see it next to the original. So let's go straight into articulation. Again, this is exactly the same as what you're getting from the first figure. So the neck is on a weird 2 barbell joint system. The joint here at the base of the neck is curved, so it's going to favor a more arching upward position like that, but you can also get the head bent down all the way like so. You can get it turned around all the way like so. It's a very smooth joint system. They did slightly modify this from the original figure. It's the exact same joint system, but it's a different material that they used for the joints, so it moves very smoothly. Look at that, very little resistance. Whereas on the original figure, you would have to try and force the joint here, because again, there's 2 different barbell joints. You would kind of have to finagle it around a little bit to get that upper joint moving in the direction you wanted. But here, it's very nice. It's very smooth. It feels very good. The jaw is a hinge. The tongue is not movable. The jaw and the tongue are connected together on a simple hinge there. But you can get the mouth open about that far. Just like the original, the waist is on a ball joint. You can get it flexing down about that far and flexing all the way up. Very straight. A little hard to focus there. And you can get it rotating all the way around if you really wanted to. Sorry, I just bumped the camera there. Thighs are on ball joints. You can get the legs swiveled all the way up and around, in and out about that far. The knees, that is a hinge, a pinned hinge here at the knee and another pinned hinge here at the ankle. So you can hinge it, the knee, that is, you can hinge it about 90 degrees like so, and you can get straightened out and actually hyperextended forward a little bit like so. And then the ankle is also on a hinge. You can hinge it like so and straighten it out. And then again, they're both pinned, so you can rotate either of them around. Tail, ball joint. Very shallow ball joint. Don't get a ton of range out of it. Go up about that far, down about that far, side to side, all the way around. Shoulders, ball joints. You can get a pretty good flex out of them. And then, of course, this was a bendy wire wing figure. Yeah, this is an excellent Rodan figure in terms of articulation. Nothing was changed here. They just made some of the joints a little smoother. All the joints have a new material. It's a little hard to see in there, but it's a clear, there we go, clear white plastic for, I think, all of the joints. I didn't even heat this figure up. This is basically what you're seeing brand new out of the box too. It feels very nice. It's the same figure, just the tolerances have been tweaked just enough to make it feel very nice out of the box. So what did they change on this figure? Well, let me tell you, it's not the figure they changed. Almost all of my issues have been solved on this version of Rodan's stand. Now, this is going to be very similar to the green Mothra, the Emerald Titan version Mothra that we took a look at a few videos ago. The stand is now going to have screws at all the joints. It's still a little loose for my preference. You can't really over tighten these screws that much.
I think if you got longer screws, if you replaced these with slightly longer ones, you could tighten this even more. This joint in particular is a little loose. It still collapses a little bit, but this one's very nice. This one's very nice. The tolerances have been greatly improved, but what especially is a game changer is this claw piece, this new claw piece. Check this out. Ba-boom, baby! Yeah, they screwed on these fucking arms now, so no more dealing with this bullshit and this thing just popping off. That's a thing of the past, guys. Rodan sits on this fucking stand like nobody's business. Oh my god, it feels so nice to finally be able to just clamp this fucker on and not have to worry about these arms going anywhere. What's good, everybody? It's me, your boy. I just wanted to add a quick addendum to this section. Surprise, surprise, this stand still fucking sucks. Yes, they added screws to the claws, which is a game changer, but the tolerances on the joints themselves still suck, at least with a figure like Rodan. It's just too heavy to be supported by this structure. This video is so late because I just wasn't happy with the B-roll that I shot yesterday, so I decided to take another day to shoot it again, and this stand has just been giving me trouble after trouble today. So yes, this stand is an improvement, but it is not perfect. They still need to work on this, especially for heavy flying figures. Again, you know, this piece right here, the tolerance could be a little tighter, but other than that, this stand, this is finally it. Again, you know, we're still a little bothersome, but hey, I'd rather that happen than the claw just fall off. All right, let's go ahead and talk about paint and detailing now. So on the left, we have the Flameborn Rodan, and on the right, we have the original Rodan. This is the least compelling repaint that Hiya's done so far. All they have done here is they've taken the base color and changed it from a reddish orange to more of a light orange. And that's really it. You can see this especially on the wings, but as you're seeing in all these comparison photos, the paint scheme, the concept, the general idea is almost identical between these figures. There's not anything more to this figure. They just kind of altered the base color a little bit. Some might like that more than the original. I kind of like the dark contrast of the original a little more. What I do like on this one is it's more consistent. That is the one thing that I would say is more compelling than the original. I do recall that in my original video, I mentioned how I felt that the body was a little too dark and the tail compared to the wings and the legs. Here, that issue is non-existent on this figure. Top to bottom, this figure looks very consistent with the paint applications, but it just feels a little flat compared to the original. It's very odd. It still looks good, but I just feel that they didn't go nearly as far as I would have liked for a figure called Flameborn, specifically in all those crevices, and none of that is present here on the base figure. There is, however, one more aspect to this figure that we need to talk about. What's this? Whoa, Hiya Toys, you dog! There's all that beautiful flame detailing that I wanted to see all over the figure. Hiya Toys has decided to hide some of that paint detailing in UV activated paint. It's mostly going to be at the bottom of the wings here. As you can see there, it's mostly going to be at the wing tips and at the tail tips. You are going to get some on the head, and every now and then there's going to be some sprinkled on, washed into the figure, but it's mostly concentrated to the edge of the wings there. Okay, so in all honesty, yeah, the UV light gimmick is neat, but I don't think it should have come at the cost of a more vibrant paint job. UV light setups is not something that I'm going to commonly have. In fact, it's not something I'm going to have, period. And I don't know how many people are actually going to have a UV light rig strong enough and specific enough to take advantage of this. But I really would have preferred just that paint actually applied to the figure. Like, imagine if the wings
just actually were that vibrant on the figure without needing a special light setup. Frankly speaking, I would have even taken glow-in-the-dark paint over UV paint. It's a very specific thing. It's very odd why they chose to do that. Again, very cool. I'm not saying that it's worse off for having it. I just think that if they were going to include it, I would have also liked to have seen stronger paint apps in addition to that. Now, in terms of accessories, you get nothing. Nothing at all. Surprise, surprise. Besides the stand, of course, and besides these little H-clips, which I think I've talked about before. I honestly don't remember if I've shown how they work in full before, because I think I edit it out every time. So let's just get this out of the way. Let's do this once and for all. This is the stand that came with the Emerald Titan Mothra. All you do is you take these little H-clips, you just clip it onto any of these little slits that you want on the stand, just like so. And then you just take any other stand base that you have, and you just attach it to the other half of the H. All the stands are compatible. Again, you can connect these bases any which way you want. You can continuously connect them. That's how it works. Okay, that's all this figure comes with. You know, honestly, I just kind of feel like a broken record talking about accessories at this point. I feel that this figure could have come with more. I think Hiya could have included some fighter jets in this, maybe with a few extra arms or something that connects to the stand for a nice little display. Could have even changed the base of the stand or given us a new base, a volcano base that this arm plugs into. Literally anything to justify buying this figure again, or picking this version of the figure over the old version. I mean, come on, guys. You couldn't have even given us an Argo? I don't need a whole city playset from Hiya. We have Titanic Creations for that. Check out the link in the description. But for these repaints at full price, I think Hiya needs to do a little more. That's all I'm getting at. I'm going to leave it there. All right, taking a look at some size comparisons now. This is the same thing as Rodan. Surprise, surprise. Let's go through the King of the Monsters gauntlet here. Here's how the Flameborn Rodan will look next to the King of the Monsters Godzilla, the King of the Monsters Mothra, the King of the Monsters King Ghidorah, the NECA King of the Monsters Mothra, and here's Rodan compared to a wide assortment of various figures that you have definitely never seen before in my videos. And speaking of things you have never seen before in these videos, here is Rodan compared to a banana for scale. Oh, I'm gonna eat you now. Oh, hey! Oh. Well, what do we have here? This is not a Hiya Toys accessory. This is actually a 3D printed Argo from a third-party artist known as Photon Collectibles. Unfortunately, I don't actually think Photon Collectibles is around anymore. I bought this many years ago, right around COVID era, and I kind of forgot I had this, honestly. It's been sitting in storage. I went digging around when I made this video, and I found it. And man, am I glad that I found it. While I was just saying that I wasn't going to linger on the lack of accessories, I lied. We're going to take a quick look at this neat 3D printed Argo as something of a proof of concept for what we could be getting from Hiya Toys. Now, again, this is a 3D print. It is unpainted. Now, if I remember right, this is a pretty early resin print. Again, I would have bought this right around 2020, so this would have been pretty early on when 3D printing was really popping off in communities. But this is a pretty sturdy material with very fine detailing. I mean, look at all those details on the engines. It's a very simple piece, but well sculpted, well printed. And it just needs a little love with paint, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that. Maybe we'll do that soon on this channel. That might be a fun video to do. You also do get a custom Photon Collectible stand. This is a very nice stand, and wow, look at that. Screws on the joints. If a third-party artist can do a stand like this, Hiya, what are we doing over here? This is all you would have gotten in the box. Actually, that may not be true. Let's go find the box. I have it around here somewhere. I found it. Found the box. This is a Photon Collectibles box. I really like this. It's very sleek. It's very simple. It's really just a standard cardboard, like card box, but Photon Collectibles made all this artwork and made it on a nice cardstock sleeve. Very slick packaging for a 3D printed artist back in the day. Let me just get this sleeve off. Oh yeah, there we go. Inside the box, you would have gotten the piece in the bubble wrap, but also you got collectible trading cards for all their figures. This is a really nice touch. This is a classy touch. So this is the Photon Collectibles Flying Fortress, not the Argo. This is their 4th release. Look at that, number 8 out of 100. This is a nice touch. I do hope they're doing well, whatever they are doing today. Something like this, it just adds that little extra to the display option there. I mean, look at that, man. Come on, Hiya, you couldn't have given us a basic thing like this. Now, this is pretty out of scale. I'm pretty sure the Argo is like half this size in the film because Rodan kind of swoops up on it with his feet, but that's beside the point. Hiya, it doesn't have to be anything this large, doesn't even have to be anything this detailed, and it certainly doesn't have to be painted. But something like this would go such a long way for these repaints. I mean, look at this, man. This is the display value that would have really gotten people to double dip on this release. All right, wrapping things up already. Look, this is the Hiya Toys Rodan again. I don't have a ton more to say about this figure. It was great back when I took a look at the original. It's still great now. It's a little disappointing for me personally because when I think of a Flameborn repaint, you know, I just would have liked a little more, but that isn't to say this is a bad figure. This is in fact a great figure that maybe just doesn't offer quite as much to someone who owns the original as it does to someone who doesn't own either. And if you don't own either, I'd say this is the one for you. While it is effectively the exact same figure, the stand is an objective improvement, and the joint tolerances out of the box on this figure are much better than the old figure. Not that they was bad on the old figure, it's just an improvement here. It's very nice. But if you already own the original, this one's an odd figure to consider, because anything that you would have wanted on this figure, you could realistically just do yourself with a little paint. Just a little bit, really. All this is really offering over the original figure is this right here. Just this little tiny bit of extra paintwork on the edges of the wings. And that's something you could do with a little orange paint and a simple brush in like 5 minutes. Just dry brush that on to your original figure, and boom, you're pretty much done. If this was like a more vibrant, on fire, like burning Rodan, we'd be having a different discussion right now. The UV light gimmick is a fun gimmick, but it's not really a selling point. It's just like a nice little Easter egg. Glow-in-the-dark paint would have been a much better choice. It's a more universally applicable paint scheme. Everything I had to say in the last video about Rodan pretty much applies here, especially with the stand claw. The fact that those are screwed on, game changer. I never have to worry about those fucking claws falling apart and Rodan tumbling down. I still think that it needed something more uniquely sculpted to Rodan. You know, I don't think we're going to see that, unfortunately. So what am I getting at here? What am I trying to say? This is a great figure that you probably don't need to own unless you're looking for a Rodan for the first time. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're actually still making this figure. This is one of those few rare instances where this figure just kind of came and went, and they, to my knowledge, have not reissued this. They've reissued the original several times, but this, I think, only got 1 or 2 waves, and I don't know if it's come back. I'll have to double check that. And if I do find some places to find this, I'll let you know in the video, and I'll put that link in the description. Thank you for joining me, guys. My lights are starting to die now, so I think that is a sign for me to wrap it up. Till next time, see ya!